What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know what I find fascinating? You look at Democrats and, their use of the word aggression or attack. It's so funny to watch these people because they'll get out there, they'll call you racist, they'll call you every single name in the book. And then you say something like, oh, there's only two genders. And then all of a sudden, they're yelling and screaming you want to genocide trans people. It's absurd as hell. What am I actually talking about here? Well, check this out, y'all. Check this out. The New York Times denounces Trump's intimidation tactics against reporters. Oh, they denounce it. Okay, so good. Now that we know their position, that they denounce Trump's attacks. What are those attacks? Yeah, I don't know if they would be categorized as attacks in my book. But let's see, let's get into this and see exactly what happened. What did mean old Donald Trump say? The New York Times on Monday denounced intimidation tactics by President Donald Trump against its reporters after days in which the administration assailed the newspaper's reporting on Elon Musk and the Defense Department. The newspaper said in a post on X, the platform owned by Musk, oh, he owns the internet, does he? That Trump's approach has never caused us to back down from our mission of holding powerful people to account, regardless of which party is in office. I call shenanigans on that. I call absolute BS on that. You guys did not and refused to hold the Biden administration to account. You guys would report in lovingly fashion of everything the Biden administration was doing, and it was up to me to interpret what you guys were saying as, okay, I have to figure this out. Oh, Joe Biden is just allowing criminal aliens to pour across the border. Oh, he defied the Supreme Court. I have to read between the lines to figure out the Biden administration defied the Supreme Court. Oh, what did he do? He sued Texas for creating the laws for their state that would help the federal government. These people are some of the most partisan actors in the history of the world at this point. Just because their information is so widespread, it comes off as very partisan. So you want to talk about the Trump administration and their intimidation tactics? I don't care, to be honest. But sorry for that. Peter Baker, Maggie Haberman, and their colleagues have an unrivaled record of covering this and prior administrations fully and fairly, the Times said. Yeah, lies. It was responding to Trump's Sunday night Truth Social post that specifically criticized the Times, Haberman, and whose name was misspelled by the president as Hagerman, and Baker, along with Baker's wife, New York writer Susan Glasser. There's something really wrong with these people, and they're sick, deranged editors, Trump wrote. They did everything in their power to help rig the election against me. How did that work out?
The first time ever anywhere, the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
Tap on the shoulder. You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
And that's an attack on journalism, y'all. That's what they're proposing as an attack on journalism. Oh, that's an intimidation tactic, is it? Yeah, I think I've seen stronger intimidation tactics than that. And I wouldn't categorize that as an intimidation tactic. That is called criticism of y'all's bunk reporting. Trump has been known to publicly attack news organizations or specific journalists. Not all of them choose to respond and engage. What was the point of that? And why is it so small? You see, that's tiny right there. You see, it's really small. I'm just guessing that's where it is. It's not actually right here. Well, to you it is, but to me it's not. There's nothing right here whatsoever. But you can see the text, can't you? Why is that so small? These people are goofy. Explaining its decision to defend its reporters, the Times said people shouldn't lose sight of Trump and his administration's real goal as they intensify their efforts to crack down on the free press. Spokesman Charles Charles Stadler said. The administration wants to make it more difficult for reporters to bring to light important information that the president would rather stay secret, he said. Is that so? And how is he going about doing this? Once again, there's no rebuttal to that. How? That's all you got to do. How and why. They don't have an answer for none of this, as a matter of fact. In criticizing Baker, Trump said he has written many of the long and boring fake news hit pieces against me. Ooh. Yeah, but what if in reality that, these people manipulate stories to make Donald Trump look a lot worse than what the situation is? What if that's actually true? Wouldn't that make that statement a criticism on their bias? Not an attack on journalism? I'm just saying, how about let's be a little bit more factual here with this. I could say this is all just funny and, oh, cry me a freaking river. But no, I'm going to try to be a little bit fair. Trump is criticizing their bias. That's what he's doing. Pointing out that they have a bias. That's all. He's not attacking journalism. He's not telling these people not to write up stories criticizing him. He just says, if you're going to criticize me, do it fairly. That's all he asks. If these people were fair with their reporting, they wouldn't get this sort of intimidation tactics. Oh my goodness. Haberman, however you want to say it, man, was among five bylines on a story released late Thursday that said the billionaire Musk was to receive a briefing on the military's top secret plans if a war broke out with China. Huh? The newspaper said it would represent a potential conflict of interest for Musk, who's helping the administration in government cost-cutting moves and has financial interests in China. How do you connect those two? Yeah, he might have financial interests in China, but if we go to war with China, don't you think that would hurt him? I'm just saying. Okay. Whatever then. If that's the route they want to go, then that's the route they go. The Defense Department furiously denounced the story, calling the Times a propaganda machine that should immediately retract their lies. Huh. I wonder why they would say that. The newspaper stood by its story and later reported that the meeting was called off after the Times reported it was about to happen. Okay, there we go. Now we get the rest of the story. While Trump also said it was a fake story, he made clear that Musk should not be given access to the information. I'm just saying, man, the news these days, the corporate press, they make up a lot of BS. They manipulate a lot of stories into driving people in a certain direction. And you wonder why you get a lot of criticism. Haberman is the author of the 2022 book, Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America. Are we broke? Is that so? These people are insane, if you ask me. And, I just can't stand this. I love how these people think, we're getting attacked, when it's just general criticism, right? So when they write up these fake stories that criticize in a harmful manner with other people, and then those people respond with, well, that was fake, that's a lie. They get their feelings hurt because of it. It's all absurd and it's funny as hell, if you ask me. But that's needless to say that these people seem to have their feelings turned up to 11, and they can't take the criticism. I wonder why that is. I get a lot of criticism considering I'm on YouTube. I wonder how these people would feel if they were to just start posting videos and get a bunch of people just coming in and constantly telling them that they should end themselves, for crying out loud, and telling them that they're garbage, that, stay in your echo chamber type of stuff, and you're stupid, you know what you're talking about, that blah, 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 just goes on and on and on and on. I wonder how they would feel. I wonder if they would give up journalism. I wonder if they would sue these people for freedom of speech, for crossing that line. Like, seriously. Like, I imagine they would actually try to sue a person for freedom of speech. I mean, hey, look, I just made that up. But I just feel that considering what's going on here, considering that they have been known to publish a lot of fake stories against Donald Trump and against Republicans and against a lot of other people. And, you know, when they get criticized for publishing fake stories, they get their feelings hurt because of it. And then they want to go off and cry about it and say, they're attacking journalism, y'all, and blah, 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 blah. We got the First Amendment, and you know the rest, right? I just find this all hilarious, and I will sit back and laugh at these people. I wonder if they know that I'm laughing at them. I doubt it. I'm a nobody, y'all. I really am. I'm just a guy that, you know, installs glass for a living, that, you know, decided one day, after reading a butt ton of news stories and noticing a bunch of manipulations in the corporate press, that decided that, hey, I'm going to tell everybody that I can that the corporate press is manipulating the crap out of every single news story that they publish. I have never seen a single news article that was just the facts and just completely unbiased. At all. Never. There's not been one. Even from Just the News, which is the closest, to be honest with you. If you guys are actually looking for good, unbiased news, which there is a little bit of bias, I'm not going to lie, there's a slight bias to them, but they are really close. I used to cover a lot of their articles. I used to cover a whole lot of their articles. But I noticed one day, because it was unbiased, I started leaning toward them because it was factual, right? Because I could trust that what they were telling me was the truth. But, you know, one day I remember I was reading this. I was actually in the middle of doing a video. I was in the middle of speaking, and I thought to myself, hey, hang on just a second. You're continually covering these Just the News articles. Wasn't the original purpose of this whole thing was to point out corporate press manipulations? And so I just completely stopped covering Just the News. Straight Arrow News, that's another one. So if you guys are looking for good unbiased news, or at least as close you can get it to unbiased news, Just the News, Straight Arrow News are probably the best out there. The best. Everybody else has a bias. I will say, though, there's a lot more right-wing news publications that are more fair, to be honest with you, than left-wing publications. Left-wing, they're just deranged for some reason, and I'm not trying to, you know, I'm trying to be fair here. I understand I have a right-wing bias, okay, because, you know, these days, reality has a right-wing bias, unfortunately, for leftists. But they're just so deranged and so just lost in the desert for some reason. It just makes no sense for them to be able to report on things factually and accurately without a bias at all. It's so hard to do these days because, you know, to fill up a news story, you got to fluff it up a little bit, to be honest with you, because otherwise your news story would be, you know, Donald Trump does backflip. And then it would be something like, you know, on Sunday, Donald Trump walked out of the White House out into the yard over here and stood and talked to reporters for a second and then did a backflip and then walked back in. It would be kind of boring, right? So, you know, these places, they kind of fluff it up a little bit, try to make it a little bit entertaining. So, you know, that has been taken to an extreme degree with the left-wing news for some reason. And what I love about this, the AP, they're one of the worst, right? This is why I always cover the Associated Press constantly. And they are supposed to be the gold standard, folks. They put out, you know, guidelines for how to report on things and blah, 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 guidelines for other news publications. As a matter of fact, the reason I cover a lot of Associated Press articles is because when I go to Ground News, right, they have all these local outlets listed, like, covering these stories, right? And there'll be like hundreds of publications covering these stories. Well, you go to like WGNB or something like that from Detroit, right? And you look on there and you read the notes right at the top who wrote it, and they credit the Associated Press. So you read that article, or read the first couple of paragraphs even, and then scroll to the Associated Press's corresponding article, and it's the exact same. And I can promise you, if you want to do this, it's fun. You can go find an Associated Press article, and then go read it, right? And then go to a local affiliate site and read their article. Word for word. Go to another one. Word for word. Go to another one. Word for word. Go to another one. Word for freaking word. It's all the same. And I find that to be frightening, to be honest with you. Scary. That all these local places, they just take the Associated Press's word for it, even though they're heavily biased. That's the reason I started doing this, folks. That is the reason, because we are getting very, very biased news from a lot of sources, and it's hard to unbias that without going too far in the other direction, if you know what I mean. But I'm rambling at this point, so y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. That's all I got on this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.